Today we have the pleasure and honor to have as our guest through the Erasmus program, Professor Phillimon Odirile, who is professor at the Faculty of Engineering and Technology at the University of Botswana, Department of Civil Engineering. Apparently, we have started collaborating with the University of Botswana since maybe 3-4 years ago, when we submitted a common proposal with the European calls for funding in the Horizon, I think, or FP7, I don't remember how it was this time, for water management issues in Southern Africa. And since then, we have know each other better. We have collaboration. And last year, we submitted a proposal in the Erasmus International Program, which was successful. Thus, I visited Botswana University last summer and under this program, and I gave some lectures to the students of the Department of Civil Engineering of the University of Botswana. Since then, I traveled again in Botswana because I was in a committee through the university for a PhD thesis. And now we have the pleasure to have Professor Odirile here in our university, who is going to give a speech on the solid waste management in Botswana. May I say that why Botswana, and quite far away from Greece, of course, it's true, but I should say, since I went 2 times the last couple of months, there or 3 months, I saw that there are great companies working in Botswana, great people, engineers, working there as advisors to the ministry or another type of business with respect to infrastructure, especially for environmental projects. So it may be quite far away in the map, but it's not far away. Maybe you find yourself in a few years working in another country that's far away from Greece. So I believe that it is interesting to know, first of all, what are the major issues that they have to assess, especially for solid waste management. And I believe that you find that interesting talk. Let me also tell you that we also have a postgraduate student from Botswana who is working in my laboratory doing his thesis. So it would be good. I don't see him today here, but it would be good to meet him and discuss with him, and feel free to socialize with him. Okay, Professor Odirile, you are welcome to start your lecture. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. As the professor has said, my name is Phillimon, and a senior lecturer there at the Department of Civil Engineering. And today I'm here and I'm honored to be here today to talk to you about solid waste management, our perspective, and maybe you will find some opportunities there that for research or for business or for anything. Okay, so first of all, I don't know how many of you know where Botswana is, and just show that we have a pointer. Okay, so Botswana is actually here, it's the blue, and it's just in the middle of other countries. North of South Africa, west of Namibia, east of Namibia, west of Zimbabwe, and south of Zambia and Angola. Okay, so we are landlocked, and we have about a population of 2.3 million. 2.3 million. So, which is not a very big population. and the area is huge, and the density is about 4 persons per kilometer square. So you can see that it's a very vast country. And the capital city is Gaborone. So this is Gaborone here, and within Gaborone you see the blue part there. Okay, is the source of water. That's the source of water here. And in the past we used to have right here the old landfill that was used for disposal of waste from the city. So it has since been closed to construct a new one that is about 30 kilometers west of the country. So about Botswana, so the tourism is one of the sectors that is giving the economy a boost somehow. So we have the Okavango Delta and the Chobe in the north also, which are a habitat for a variety of species of animals. And it is very important that we protect that environment so that we can continue having tourists coming in. And if we don't protect it, then it means it might just disappear from pollution. So that is about Botswana. And what is actually solid waste? I will just go through it. Not because you don't know, but because I just have to repeat that. So waste is anything which is considered to be no longer useful to anyone. So we have a lot of all those things that are not useful to us. So we regard them as waste. So it has the ability to be the raw material for several other processes and applications. So even though we regard that as waste, we still can make that useful in many ways. We can make that useful in many ways, and those are the kind of things that we need to be thoroughly looking at so that we don't have that much of waste. Because one thing is, if we have too much waste, so what are we going to do with it? So we need to make sure that we dispose it off appropriately so that we don't cause pollution. So improper handling of waste could result in several environmental hazards, such as air pollution, soil erosion, methane emissions, low birth rates, and others. So there are many hazards that can be caused by having solid waste. So one of the main instruments, so I forgot to tell you that this presentation here is based on the work that I supervised for some exchange students from Sweden, and this were from Linköping University. So they came in to do some research on solid waste management in Botswana, and some of the results are those that I'm going to be showing here. So one of the important tool or instrument that we use is the waste management hierarchy, because we need to make sure that we manage our waste in such a way that it is not too much for our community. So we start with reduction. We need to start with the reduction. We need to reuse. We need to recycle, and we need to recover. Incineration and landfill. So the last three, we should try to avoid them. I mean, the last two, in fact, we should try to avoid them as much as possible, because they can cause pollution. Like incineration, you have incinerators at landfills where the chemical waste and other hazardous material are incinerated, and at the landfill we only put the other municipal waste. Okay, so we also have the Botswana strategy for waste management that we use to manage solid waste. So the waste management hierarchy is very much talked about in that strategy, because we need to avoid too much waste going into the landfills. So we also have the integrated sustainable waste management tool. Okay, so in order for us to ensure sustainability, so the ISWM acts as a tool to achieve sustainable development in the field of waste management. So that we use a lot. That's why it contains also the hierarchy in there, as you can see. Okay. For Botswana, the main stakeholders are the Department of Environmental Affairs and the Department of Waste Management and Pollution Control. We also have the Gaborone City Council. Okay, Gaborone City Council, where they develop some bylaws actually for waste management. And private organizations as well, they play a very important role. We have a company called Simply Recycle, Dumatao Trading, Collect a Can. So now this one is, okay, to translate number 4 there, it means Environmental Watch. So it's an NGO that helps to manage solid waste. And then we also have Botswana Television. We regard this as stakeholders, because they have lots and lots of waste from television, lots and lots of television. They pile a lot of waste from such kind of electronic devices. Okay, so Gaborone City actually has got the new landfill, which is not new anymore. I think it's about 10 years already, and it is 30 kilometers away from the city, the west of the city. So one thing that, okay, 20 kilometers, that is more than that. So one thing that we notice is that because when you construct a landfill, so you have to have a lifespan for the landfill. But as you observe that this lifespan is going to be shortened, because there is quite a lot of waste going into the landfills indiscriminately. So there isn't any sort of sorting that is done. Recycling is done, is minimal, okay? It's minimal, so we still have a lot of waste going into the landfill. So, because everybody goes to the city, that's where the jobs are, that's where the shops are, and they produce quite a lot of waste. Okay, the current waste collection system in practice in Gaborone, which is the capital city, that's where you have the source, which are the households, the commercial establishments, we have the industrial size, and other waste. So we've got those. But all waste from all these sources is unsorted. So we collect all of it and transport it to the landfills without sorting. And sorting is done by individuals, or what we call them scavengers. They go in there and start sorting themselves and choose whatever they want from the landfills. So that is a serious problem. That's a serious problem because these people, when they go there, so it's very unhealthy to do that, to allow people to go into the landfills, and sometimes they even get food. So those are people who don't, who cannot afford to have food. Sometimes they get all these perishables from the landfills. So it's a very serious problem that we have. So most of the waste will be organic, and just a small fraction of inorganic waste coming into the landfills. Okay? So even though we have these companies that we call them recycling companies, so they do it at a very minimal rate. So there are only a few of them, and not that much. So everybody that needs something, so they have to pay people to go to the landfill to go and collect. If they are recycling plastic, for instance, so these people have to collect these plastics at the landfills itself. So that is not a very good practice. So we should try to sort at the source. So that is the best way to deal with the situation. Okay, so how did we actually do this? These students actually came to Botswana, and they will wait at the gate of the landfill, and after weighing the vehicle, so they direct the vehicle, or after knowing where the vehicle is coming from. So if it is coming from a commercial establishment, so they know that, okay, this is from a commercial establishment. And then they'll start sorting the waste themselves and put them according to the types from into buckets, and start weighing these buckets. So you can see how messy a process it is. Okay, so this is what they found out: the types of waste from Gaborone disposed at the landfill in tons. So paper, that's the most that you get from the landfill, followed by food, and then plastic. So we've got more than 14 tons of paper, more than 12,000 tons of food, and then plastic, about 7,000 tons. Okay, so those are, and then followed by garden and wood. So all these also are thrown into the landfills. So in actual fact, if we are sorting, we shouldn't be having things like wood, we shouldn't be having things like garden waste or whatever. Okay. There isn't any transfer station. So when the landfill was designed, it was designed with the transfer station in mind. So, and this was during the recession time. So, because of the recession, so the transfer station was removed, so that the money could be enough only for the construction of the landfill itself. So since then, there is nothing that shows that we are going to soon be having the transfer station. So, but it's a very important facility that we need to ensure that we have, so that we can be able to sort and pick whichever or start recycling. Okay. So on annual basis, the generation of solid waste for different strata of Gaborone. So we have the housing, commercial, industrial, and art. So as you can see, the 28,000 tons from households, and 15,000 tons from commercial areas, and 1.6 thousand from industrial, and others account for 5,000 tons. Okay, that is what goes into the landfills. So the presented amounts only account for the waste delivered to this dam only. I mean this landfill only. Okay. In terms of the waste itself, the paper is 15,000 tons, and garden waste 5,000, and again, food there goes to 13, and then only e-waste, electronic waste, is very small at 300 tons. Okay? So that is the results that you got from sorting of that. So how do you collect? So this is waste collection by the private company. The private company is called skip hire. So they use skips. They put the skips at the commercial, the shop, behind the shops, and they come weekly or daily to come and collect after the waste has been filled in, and then transported to the landfills. Okay, so in the rural area, sometimes there are no vehicles there, so you have to resort to donkey charts and cattle charts, so to collect the waste. But you cannot just leave it there. But somehow you have to take it out of the village. Okay, innovative, isn't it? So the disposal. So that is the dam. I don't know why I keep on saying the dam. So that is the landfill. That is the landfill, and as you can see that it is compacted there. And as it gets compacted, we have the leachate dam on the side. So it's a very big pool of water in there. Okay, it's leachate plus also storm water in there. So it's not only leachate. So that's a serious one that needs also to be taken care of, the leachate. Okay, that's another very important waste type that we are grappling with, because it's a really big problem. Tires. So this pile, as you can see, is at the landfill. You get all those used tires at the landfill, so they just stay there. So on the right, you can see the crusher or the cutter. Okay, so that's what you have to use to cut the tires into pieces, into small pieces. But there's also a problem with that. The problem is that sometimes it is not operational. It's not working properly. Sometimes because there isn't anyone who knows how to operate it. So sometimes you have one person operating it, and then when he goes, then there is no one that has been taught to replace that same person. Okay, so that's a very serious problem. Then you end up having it standing there for months and months, even for years, without it being used. Okay, I personally have not seen it operational. I've gone there several times, but no. So that's a serious problem. Okay, so you have to resort to this. So this is the burning of tires at the landfill. You see the smoke is too much. It's covering that. So imagine what kind of gases are coming out of burning of this. Okay. So this is not a very good thing that should be encouraged. Okay, recycling. We talked about a company called Jumata. That's the only company that actually recycle paper, and they collect paper, and also this one sometimes they just go to the shops directly. They'll tell the shops, okay, look, can you do this for us? Keep this paper so that we can come and collect it. But most of the time, they collect the paper at the landfills, and they hire scavengers, I'll call them, to go and collect paper from the landfill. So they will pile it and produce recycling paper or recycled paper. Okay. So that's what happens. And plastic, where we have also a company, Simply Recycle, that recycle plastic. Okay, so also they collect plastic from the landfills, pay people to go and collect it, and they produce some pellets that at the end of the day, they transport this to South Africa because they don't have the facility to produce anything. So they have to transport that to South Africa, where they will be producing some useful materials like maybe plastic containers. Okay. And for beverage cans, we have Collect a Can, which is the company that collects beverages. So for this one, this is how they do their collection. Most of the time they don't collect at the landfill. They collect at shops, especially at places at bars, where they're selling alcohol, and also because that's where you see a lot of this, because people drink a lot of alcohol. So most of the time they just collect at the shops, and they get paid. They get paid by the company for that, the time of the cans. So the recovered metal cans are then subjected to process where it is crushed and pressurized in the form of bundles, those bundles that you see there, and sent to South Africa as well. So South Africa, a very big market for waste. So because they have things to do with that waste. So and then it gets processed there further. And then you have also scrap metal. So people just bring, there's a lot of scrap metal at the landfills. But most of the companies, they buy from people. So people just bring anything that they want to sell to the company, and then they pick exactly like it is by trucks to South Africa without any processing. So that's also a very big market for scrap metal in South Africa. Okay, so what should we do? So from household, we need to start sorting. We need to start sorting according to organic and inorganic from all these places. And when you transport, you have to be transporting to transfer station. So we advocate for the transfer station to be constructed because it is very important. That's when we can reduce the amount of waste going into the landfills. Okay, so we start processes like composting and then recycling. So whatever they feel that is left, that can be sent to the landfills. But that will help in reducing the amount of waste. Okay, so at the rate at which the landfill is filling up, it might just go soon. And the lifespan will be reduced by probably even by 3/4 because it's filling up very, very, very quickly. So, but the ultimate aim of solid waste management for any country is to climb the peak of the solid waste management hierarchy so that you get away from the landfill. You finish the waste at the recycling part, so that you don't reach the landfills. So this can be achieved if we intensify education on solid waste management and recycling, because people just don't know the need for recycling. Okay, because I personally have, I don't know here, but I've personally gone to Scandinavia, to Sweden especially, and there it's clear that even a small child knows how to sort waste at home. So unless we understand that, and improve the education right at the household level, then we can be able to achieve that. Because sorting will be done immediately at source. And obviously opportunities exist in terms of looking for maybe waste to energy as a management option. You can use a lot of material from the landfill that goes to the landfill as an energy source. So it's very, very important. It's very, very important that we discuss that, methods of doing that, and trying to maybe look for collaborations in order to improve that situation. So, the picture, those are the students that were entering into the landfill, and that's a weight bridge on the right. Okay, so you wait there, the truck comes, they take the number plates and record all the data and direct it to where it's supposed to go and start sorting themselves. So they really loved that part. So they were from Phillimon University, but they were from different countries. India, there's Ghana, there's Ethiopia. Yeah, three of them were from India, but students at Phillimon. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope I'll have some of you next time.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Odirile. Do you have any questions regarding the solid waste management?
And suggestions?
Suggestions most welcome, as you can see.
Yes.
I know that in some African countries, for example in Ghana, they use the tires as a construction material. That doesn't happen in
No.
Botswana? No,
It doesn't. Yes, I know that as well, but it doesn't happen.
You only burn it.
You only learn. But you can have individuals. Individuals, they can make maybe chairs for sitting at home and all that. So
Yeah.
that is how.
But a tire should be much more than.
Yes, yes.
Any other question? So let me.
It's interesting to observe that you produce too much paper.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Why is that? I think that's because of the shops.
Okay.
Because there's quite a lot of shopping malls
Okay.
that packaging and all that. That's where the paper comes from.
Okay.
Yeah. And also plastic. It comes from.
Yes.
Do you plan to introduce any sorting, like the source facilities? I mean, at the level of the house or of the neighborhood, that the people will collect separately some material instead of have the scavengers picking them up from in the landfill?
Collection itself is a problem. So sorting, it won't be easy. So because sometimes it's not very easy to collect because they got this plastic, black plastic. That's where they just collect from a house or from a household, where they can mix any type of waste because they just want to get rid of the waste. They don't understand.
But in Europe, for example, they try to do separated.
Yes.
But in Botswana they
Not in
don't.
Botswana. That's why I'm saying it's not easy. So we still need to work on that.
I see that the government recently they released a tender for waste to energy, so they consider to make a waste to energy facility sometime. Huh?
Yes, they are trying to do that. They are trying to do that, but sometimes efforts are there, but you don't know where they end up. Yeah. Just like the transfer station, because we're supposed to help the transfer station, but it will come because we are really advocating for that. We are fighting hard to have it.
Okay. Okay, if we don't have any other questions, let me thank you again for